I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. The U.S. Army has now identified 2 soldiers killed in an Apache helicopter crash in Salado. Chief Warrant Officer 2 DeAndre Huey and Warrant Officer Seth Olmstead. They were both native Central Texans and both Killeen ISD graduates. Our Julieta Jackson spoke with veterans, military families, and local leaders about the 2 lives lost and how the community is responding.
It's just heartbreaking. Something like that hasn't happened here in a very long time.
Heartbreak in a community that knows military service well. June Ritterbush served 10 years in the military, flying Hueys and Black Hawks around the world and here at Fort Hood.
So many veterans around here that it hurts everyone's hearts when bad things happen.
2 military soldiers were killed while on board an AH-64 Apache when it crashed into a field on August 12th.
It impacts the troops, the ones that work with them, because they're like their brothers.
For Credit Ferry, she says Salado is filled with families who understand the sacrifices that come with service.
A lot of retired military, so it affects this village.
The crash is a reminder of the risk.
It really makes you sort of take stock. Even at home during training missions, just how dangerous that work is.
State Representative Brad Buckley says when tragedy hits, the word neighbor takes on a different meaning, and it was shown through the numerous emergency personnel who came to the scene.
Salado is an incredible community of really patriotic citizens that will always answer the call to help their neighbor.
As the smoke clears, attention is turning back to the 2 soldiers who lost their lives.
We know in our hearts how you feel because we've been through it, and I wish them the best. And remember, memories are the best to remember them by.
The U.S. Army has now temporarily halted all Apache helicopter training flights as it investigates the cause of the crash. Meantime, it is hot, dry, and windy outside, and all 3 qualities that create the perfect conditions for potential grass and wildfires. Our Sydney Walker has more from 2 agencies who responded to Wednesday's helicopter crash and the grass fire aftermath about doing your part to prevent disaster.
It's heating up.
We see this happen pretty much every summer.
And drying out.
We had a wet spring, and now all that grass that was growing very quickly has dried out.
Add in wind, and it's the perfect recipe for a fire.
Mix of really dry conditions now with a higher fuel load gives way for serious wildfires.
Fires that our first responders have to put out.
What actually sparks that is any number of things. It could be improperly discarded smoking materials. It could be maybe somebody grilling and some ash or some coal fell out of their grill.
It just takes one spark.
9 out of 10 wildfires are actually human caused. So that means that we can prevent 9 out of 10 wildfires.
From things we may not even think about.
They get a little bit careless, and they may not mean to.
A simple accident or old habit.
Maybe they cook out for the weekend on a grill. They dump their coals typically in their normal spot. Well, in the hotter, drier conditions, that could go ahead and spark a fire.
Like burn piles.
People burning debris or burning trash during a burn ban, or even if there's not a burn ban, just when it is very dry.
Outdoor equipment like lawnmowers or hay balers.
Making sure you have a water source nearby if you're cutting or welding, doing anything outside is very important.
And making sure your car is in good shape, like brakes and exhaust in check.
Anything on your vehicle that touches the road while you're moving is probably going to cause a spark.
Just think twice while it stays hot, dry, and windy.
The best way to avoid some of that is just be mindful of what you're doing.
All great tips. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.